Um, I want to discuss something here, man. Another spirit that I've been noticing, and I've lived through it. And I think everyone has this spirit. It's kind of like in the sense where, do you remember spirit rallies at school where they call it school spirit, where they try to foment this atmosphere of community? They used to do or there's something called hate rallies in 1984. And in a way, a Brave New World is like, in a way, they would call a hate rally a love rally of pink, polka dotted, fucking. I don't know. It's just like, it's a childlike. Everything. Nothing makes any sense. It's like everything is double speech. It's like totally weird, and it's through conditioning and drugs that they would get people to this state. Like 2 + 2 = 5. The snow is blight. Shizzle like that. The heck is that? Hear them squeaky brakes? The spirit of nostalgia. And the spirit, once again, that can be triggered through things like a school rally. A spirit of nostalgia is this. Like, look, an event. I remember the day that the spaceship blew up. You know what I'm saying? I can remember still in the 80s. I'm almost in the room in my mind right now, in a way. You know what I'm saying? How many memories that invokes. That's the spirit of nostalgia. I can see the old model TV with 2 knobs on it, and there was only like 12 fucking channels on it. I can't remember exactly, but uh okay. The spirit of nostalgia can come through movies, okay? It's like it basically, nostalgia is this. It's something that you look at and you get intense memory connection, and then that evokes ancient, in a way. Not ancient, but I mean, for man only living so many years in your life, once you get old enough, they become ancient memories in places that don't even exist anymore. And you know, that's the scariest thing I've seen in my real life is, you know, ever since I did the FOC thing and I got to see all the bandos. Now I notice bandos everywhere. I only had to do it for 3 weeks. That's 9 different times. I think that's all it was, man. I got to go out on one of these journeys around the city and watch them board shit up. You know what I'm saying? And that stirred up much nostalgia. But then it also caught it on fire and burned it up, because I realized it helped me get in perspective that, man, these things, the Bible ain't lying when it says these things will pass away like grass, like flowers. Yeah, they're at one time they were fucking beautiful, but they will wilt and fall away. But flowers come back eventually anyway. So that's part of it, is that realization. You know, life goes on for the living, or, you know, those that are still in the flesh suit here. But the stuff that happens in the flesh suit, in a way, stays in the flesh suit unless you actively find the cord that goes to your heart and you have to clip them. And so when someone plucks a chord, like an old song like Ozzy Osbourne, for some reason when you listen to Ozzy Osbourne, instantly you can be totally sober and you feel like you're stoned and you're drunk, and it kind of feels like there's fucking flashing lights around. You know what I'm saying? For some reason, that's the magic of music, and these guys are truly magicians and wizards, man. I mean, not even in the serious type of sense, but really, some of these guys really are wizards and or wizards and magicians, like conjurers, conjured spirits and shit. And you're really listening to spirit channeled communications, man. And you can look into like the Tavistock Institute, I think it's called, the Beatles, the Leary guy, and Crowley, the Crowley Rock connection, the military intelligence connection to music. You can look at the 27-year-old deaths and the weaponized music. Even what's his name, man? Helter Skelter, old Manson. He's tied up into this same weird. I mean, and literally, they're a cult. I mean, it's like, all right, you can find there's also a military intelligence community type connection to Satanism that is like really all pervasive as well, and that music is beneficial to their causes. You know what I'm saying? They can do charity concerts and shit like that on the high hand, but on the low hand, you know what I'm saying? They're they're sacrificing babies and shit. And it's not always just the musicians themselves. It's the industry. The industry and the occult are wrapped way up in one another. Just like on what they say about what you hear about Hollywood. It's so weird. Like it's so full of superstitions. Like it's really, and there's a class. It's like you also can get a posh melting pot of cultures, especially in music and in for actors and shit, because you get you know what I'm saying, you get more opportunity to meet like weird people, you know what I'm saying? But the spirit of nostalgia is like this. It's like, look, for instance, one time I knew me and my chick was gonna start fighting because she kept listening to country music, and it was like sad, and it was all about breaking up, and it's like, man, dude, you are pumping yourself full of like, it's like listening. Imagine this: if you had on a record or on a CD, and it just kept saying, "Kill yourself, kill yourself, kill yourself," over and over and over and over, and you just pump that into yourself constantly, and now you're in the hospital for slitting your wrist. It's like, look, in a way, most music is kind of like, I double dog dare you to do this. And it's like, that's really what the music is like. I double dog dare you to try to live up to this vision I'm giving you here. And literally, they're like commands, dude. And when you're in the state of nostalgia, because of your emotions that are dug up from the memories that are released, like it's like age dope for the demons. Like I realize the demons are like, they like to sit around and wait for you to like get in a harsh emotional state where and then when you're wrong and you're in sin, like, look, you're angry and you're not sinning, you're sinning because you're angry, for instance, or afraid or whatever, or felt betrayed, or you feel offended, whatever, and then you're acting out because of it. It's like the demons are, it's like you let off this fairy dust that these demons kind of trail around and they like snort it. You know what I'm saying? While you're unaware, they're like following you around and snorting you. That's not a black cloud that's following you. The demon, you're a smorgasbord, and it's like being on a hot machine in a casino. You keep effing up and feeding this thing, and it's just following you around, and you don't realize that this thing's sucking you dry. So you're attacking people around you, and it's not really you. It's this demon using you to invoke like trauma. Trauma is a form of nostalgia. Like, look, if someone mentions a certain kind of traumatic act, and then for some reason that brings people right back into the high school mind where they're more towards a child. You know what I'm saying? Then you can there's other ways, like everyone got a spanking as a kid. You know what I'm saying? That reduces you even farther. You know what I'm saying? And that's how nostalgia works as well. Because your mind isn't entrapped in that old place that doesn't really exist, that old box in the mind that is your memory of the event and the time and the place and the feeling, like the spirit of the time. As times change, the overall residual energy changes. So that's another reason why people seek a nostalgia, because it makes them think of old times, when times were good, when I was a younger man, when I still participated in the wildlife, and I really miss it. And I'm just kind of like this dry drunk who is miserable because I can't, you know what I'm saying? Do it no more or whatever. Kind of like that, or or the reformed hooker thing, you know what I'm saying? But really, secretly, you reminisce about your times, and you miss them because they were more fun, and it felt like the grass was greener, kind of a mindset as well. And it gets you to play. Nostalgia makes you play in a fantasy realm. A lot of times your memories are not exactly how you remember them, and so it's a very ethereal, hypothetical place to go. Is your memories, your thoughts, your mind. The mind is the devil's playground. It's not necessarily idle hands. It's the mind. When your mind, in a way, takes a mind of its own, and it controls your thoughts. It steers your thoughts and the things you entertain in your mind. And really, the battle of confronting these things isn't an easy task. Look, to bridle the tongue of your brain, you know what I'm saying? From letting it babble inside your own freaking mind. You know what I'm saying? In other words, and it's not that to think about things isn't a bad thing, but to think about the wrong things and too much and too frequently, that's a bad thing. So it's more or less about curbing back the train of thought. You know what I'm saying? Not letting it just go like, it's like the like Nikola Tesla, a Tesla coil with the little arcing. It's like you got these arcs going all around your head, just looking for anything to take in. You know what I'm saying? That's not it's a very grasping mind. You know what I'm saying? That a grasping mind is way too quick to fill in the blanks, and it assumes way too much, and it looks at things surface deep, and then thinks that's as deep as it goes. That's another thing about it. It's an arrogance and a pride that you believe you know how deep the thing goes, but you really don't. That's the true and see that feeling of nostalgia, elitism, school spirit, winning team spirit is what facilitates the pride that it takes to get that big of a blind spot. You know what I'm saying? And the nostalgia thing is a great way to look, whenever they say 9/11, it invokes this nostalgia. If they say Desert Storm, I remember them playing for days straight after that. I'm proud to be an American, or at least I know I'm free. I remember them playing that. I remember Incubator Babies. And now that I know how the whole game is played now, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's using nostalgia to steer people in a particular direction that you want them to go. You know what I mean? It's a pretext. It's problem reaction solution. It's Hegelian dialectic. It flew away, and they can use the spirit of nostalgia to do that. You know what I'm saying? They got that like terminology like Uncle Sam. Let me think. That the picture of the guy Uncle Sam. You know what I'm saying? Let me think. The Statue of Liberty. These images invoke great nostalgia in this culture here. For instance, like look once again, slavery. You say slavery. Oh, that invokes much nostalgia. You know what I'm saying? Let me think. Civil rights, nostalgia. Look, these people capitalize on a spirit, and it's a dead, old, stale spirit in a way that they want to recapture sometimes. But at the same time, man, it's like history repeats, and they go in cycles. So you can glean a lot of real truths from nostalgic information, too. But to be just swayed and Pied Pipered by it, unaware of how it works, and it'll draw you in again for a little spell, literally, and more time will go by than you'll stay there longer than you wanted to, and it's really is like it's a hall of mirrors. It's just a deceptive, tricky, weird, deceitful place to go. Is those old false memories, and especially a lot of them are put there through the use of music and drugs and social engineering.